Broadcasting live from Spire Bluff Canal on the plain of Amsterdam. This is Tap Tap Concede. Welcome, everybody, to Tap Tap Concede. My name is Graham. Joining me is Kathleen and Cameron. And today, we're going to talk about MagicCon Amsterdam, because we are all, at time of recording, it is Friday. We all arrived back in on Monday. Well, most of us did. James is also here, and he got hit by the WestJet strike, but got delayed by only a day.
Yeah, like 18 hours.
Still brutal.
Yep.
Yeah. But before we get into talking about any of that, I want to remind you that this show is brought to you by Card Kingdom. I know you both did the point, but I
faked us out.
Yeah.
Faked us out.
Yeah.
Card Kingdom.
CardKingdom.com/LRR. They're a great place to buy Magic cards. They'll ship sealed product anywhere in the U.S. They'll ship single cards anywhere in the world. Go to CardKingdom.com/LRR if you're going to buy your cardboard. Kathleen.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's how Card Kingdom is brought to you by you, because when you order your stuff, don't forget to put in that affiliate code.
It helps us a lot.
It really does.
Yeah. And new buttons are on their way to Card Kingdom. But also, the show is brought to you by you and your kind support of our Patreon at patreon.com/loadingreadyrun, or by becoming a member on this YouTube channel. MagicCon Europe. Oh, love going to Europe.
Yeah, no, it was fun.
I've only been twice.
Being in Europe.
Yeah.
Going to Europe is a very long process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, honestly, even that process was so much nicer than, say, going to the United States.
Oh, yeah, we cleared security once. Mm-hmm. Getting into Europe was amazing. Like, because we landed in Switzerland and at about 3 a.m. Victoria time, and the border guard looked at us. What did she say? What was the exact question she said?
So we approach the thing. We have our masks. We approach the border entry, and she says, "What do you think is the first question I'm going to ask you?"
And then this is the approach. This is the difference in approaches between Graham and Kathleen. Because Graham, being a very clever person, thinks I'm not volunteering a single piece of information. That you
right.
Don't
The
ask
way
me
that Cameron is shrinking up there. Yeah, exactly. What do you think the first question is I'm going to ask you? Is
like, not that one.
Kathleen,
not that one.
Kathleen,
I didn't.
It's 3 a.m. My mystery solving brain engages, and I go, a riddle, a puzzle. I love these. And then I realize, with delight, you're going to ask me to take our masks off.
Oh, yeah.
And then she goes, correct. And I think, impressed that I got it that quickly. And then her demeanor completely lightened up. So occasionally, you just meet a sphinx, not a demon.
My reaction was just like, I couldn't begin to guess.
That was a question.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah, you already asked me the first question.
I should have said that one.
And then I go to Swiss prison.
Yeah. So anyhow,
we had our flights over there. For those, just as a brief aside, this isn't meant to be like travel breakdown, but because you mentioned it's nicer to go there than it is to go to the States. Most of you, statistically, listeners at home, are from the States, and something that you won't appreciate is how irritating it is for anyone from not there to get there, because we get to our airport here, we do security, and the security at Victoria Airport, for some reason,
it's so hardcore.
They're really belligerent about it. Kathleen and I were behind someone in line who had too much makeup. She had a full makeup thing, and you're only allowed so many milliliters of liquid or whatever.
They strictly enforce that not only do all your liquids, they all have to fit into a 1 liter bag. They all have to fit into the 1 liter bag that you can only get at the airport. Mm-hmm. They are very strict about that. So the only time to get one of those bags is when you're already heading through security. So it's very stressful.
Yeah, and so
I grab a stack usually.
Yes, yeah. So you have them at home.
Yes.
So the security person was like, "Okay, so I mean, do you want to just leave these behind?" And the woman was like, "No, hold on. No, I'm not just leaving stuff behind. I'm not just throwing out some of my makeup." And
I'm going to Vancouver.
the person was the security person was trying to convince her to just chuck stuff, and was like, "Well, what's the cheapest? What's the easiest for you to replace?" And then they're like, "No, you're not just going to make me throw stuff away. It's like which pieces of these do you need the least?"
What happened was her. Yeah, sorry.
That's not relevant, actually. That was
okay.
a side thing. She went back through security.
Yeah.
Is what happened. She decided to check her bag. After we do that, because typically when we're going to the States, we have to make a connection somewhere, usually in Vancouver or Seattle. We have to do security again because the TSA doesn't trust Canadian border services.
Well, we were responsible for 9/11, don't you know?
Like we have to go through security a second time before making the connection because the US is like, we're not buying it.
Yeah.
We didn't have to do that going to Europe.
No.
We went Victoria, Vancouver, 10 hours Vancouver to Zurich. And then a little changeover from Zurich to Berlin. Because briefly, actually, before we get to MagicCon, we should talk about Kathleen and I went out early to hang out with the folks from Card Market. We're based in Berlin, which was very kind of them. They invited us out there to do some magic stuff. So if you're a fan of Card Market, you'll see 4, I think, videos coming up in the near future with Kathleen and myself on the Card Market channel.
Including some very goofy stuff.
Very goofy stuff.
You know what, though? But they're like, what do you want to do? And I'm like, You're putting me up at a hotel in Berlin? I'll do whatever you want within reason.
Carl has a lot of big ideas.
I've wanted to go to Germany for so long.
Yeah.
Now I'm your insufferable friend who went to Berlin once.
It was great. Everyone in Berlin is from other places, so they all speak English because that's like the common denominator. Like it's anyone who speaks English could go to Berlin and not have difficulty with the language, which is good because I do not speak German, as many people who watch the Crack-A-Pack know. And
More on that later.
yeah, the Card Market office. So Carl is. If you watch their stuff, you'll know that he's one of their main sort of faces on the YouTube. He's actually also secretly Canadian. He's from Montreal. Toralf is from Germany, and then we met a bunch of their editors. Brian from Germany, File from Austria, who gave us some very good recommendations of places to go and see. So thank you for that, File. Katarina from Portugal. The department head is from Tracy from the Philippines. They had a makeup person in who was from the States. It's a very I was going to say it's a world city. People from Berlin or who live there are very keen to tell you that since Brexit, Berlin is now the largest city in Europe. Because London is no longer
in Europe.
So it's even more metropolitan and it's great.
Yeah, it was lots of fun. Very happy to be there. Thanks, Card Market, and keep an eye on their videos for some silliness upcoming.
Would Windmill slam a trip back there anytime.
Yeah, it was great. Also, it was really funny because they were talking about local food, right? Like, obviously, there's like traditional. We did go out for like big like schnitzel, whatever. Even though that's regionally a different part of Germany, but we did go out for like a big Bavarian schnitzel meal, which was nice. But they're like, what's the Berlin food? And there's currywurst.
Yeah, it's sausage based.
Yeah, it's a sausage with a curry sauce on it.
Genius.
Yeah, the bread is very, very good. But also, they're like, oh, and you have to try this thing. It's obviously it's inspired by other cuisines, but this form of it was developed here. It's called doner, and I was like, yeah, we have that. And they're like, what? Like, yeah, Canada loves doner. I think
I think for the same reason that Germany loves doner. I'm just putting it out there.
Because you're drunk at 2 a.m.
Yeah, and we compared notes. We went to have the doner. Very similar, slightly different form factor in how the bread is used. It's turned into like more of a crispy pocket than like rolled.
Like, ours is more of like a pillowy, soft pita.
Yeah, but the same sauce, same like meat from the spinny thing, like, all the like the Middle Eastern tradition of that.
Slightly,
a bolus of processed lamb.
Yeah,
lots more vegetables on theirs though.
Yes, that's true. But basically the same thing. And I was like, oh yeah, no, this is we have this.
Well,
and I think in Canada they said that this form of it started in Berlin. They claim.
I mean, probably.
And I'm not going to argue.
I'm not fact-checking people who are from Berlin.
Yeah, then it was brought to Canada. It landed in Canada in Edmonton, I believe.
Really? Because I've always heard that it originated in Halifax.
Yeah, there's Halifax-style doner.
Right, with the sweet
sauce. With the sauce, the sweet sauce, which we don't get here. We don't have the sweet sauce doner here.
There is a place to get the sweet sauce because it's what my buddies and I used to get when we watched wrestling.
Oh.
There's a pizza place that makes it.
Oh, sweet sauce doner?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. You know what we have to do is basically we're like, if you guys ever come to North America, let us know. we get along with them very well. They're very fun people.
Yeah, we got to get the local Donair.
Yeah, we'll have to do Donair tour.
Anyway, that was great. And then we made our way through the throngs of football fans because Germany was hosting the Euros while we were there. So there was a lot of football fans around,
Especially on the train that we took to Amsterdam.
Yes. Our train, it was 2 trains, and the first train got delayed by like 40 minutes. And they obviously ran the numbers and decided that it would piss off fewer people to make the connecting train wait.
Oh, okay.
Because our train was like almost entirely full of Netherlands football fans going back to the Netherlands from watching the game in Germany. And so we were most of the second, like people from our train were most of the second train. So I think they were like, yeah, we're gonna let them wait. And then anyway, yeah, MagicCon Amsterdam.
Yeah. I think it's probably important to preface the fact that we get like the all-star treatment.
Oh,
at
that's
these
a good
events.
point.
Yes.
We should.
Right.
We do mention that. I think we might have forgotten last time, but we do try to mention that on these podcasts that we are like contracted guests to be there, and they pay for us to be there, and we have like guest badges, and so we get to go. We get to go into the
Theoretically,
on paper, we get to go into the VIP lounge, and we're treated very nicely, and that's very wonderful. So when we're talking about specific aspects of how great the show was, bear in mind that
we get like the best part of the show.
Yeah.
Right. Or people are invested in showing us the best part of the show, and that will probably warp our experience compared to what a 3-day badge holder might experience. But I had a great time.
yeah, me too.
Yeah, as it turns out, it was a lot of fun.
I think this was one of the best. It might have been the best. James, you've been to everyone because you were even at Magic 30 in Vegas.
Yep.
How does this rank for you? I think this might have been the best.
I think this was probably the best.
Yeah.
This was just
Yeah, I could still find nitpicks about like how they set up the hall, and I mean, it was not the nicest venue we've ever had.
that's fine.
But yeah, overall the vibes were good. The people were nice. Everything seemed to be running fairly well. So yeah, I think it was the best.
I will say that I have a friend who was a Black Lotus person who wanted to go get exclusive merch, and that they waited in a very long line. This is, I think we had dinner with them. I don't know. They didn't. They had a stressful experience, we'll say, on the Thursday night trying to get their merchandise early, and just basically they had to wait in a long line to pay. So I don't know how they would feel about it, and I didn't. I'm not them. I'm not going to weigh in on the Black Lotus experience, but that would be interesting. But
I think that I think that there was some issues with figuring out the logistics for like if you have Black Lotus VIP, among the perks is that you get like early access to the show merch, and I think you get a small discount as well. But you get early access so that you'll be able to get stuff before it's sold out. And I think just because we're not Black Lotus VIP, but we're often around the show floor when they're allowed to do those things, and I have seen it go wrong so many times.
Honestly, like the VIP badge just come with like an online voucher for the store. Right?
Really
It's like, yeah, just like, here's your VIP badge, and here's like, I don't know, a URL. Tell us what you want, and we'll have it waiting for you in the lounge.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh.
Instead of having to like get an extra 100 people lined up at like 9 a.m. on Friday morning. I think that would probably like just be easier for
Damn,
people.
that's a great idea.
it's a lot of work to have it like packed and ready
It's
to go.
so
I
good though.
suppose so. Like, I mean, this is just me being like, wouldn't it be so much better if the world was made out of pudding? But yeah, because I saw quite a few people saying like, standing in line for merch sucks.
Yeah.
And yeah, accurate, it does.
Yeah.
But like maybe moving those people out of the lineup would make a smoother experience for everyone else. Also, it'd probably be nice for like did they get access to the artists earlier?
I don't know. I think they get earlier on the show floor.
They do, yeah. So they would get access. And then sometimes, that was one of the things, is you did have to line up for artists and stuff like that.
Yes.
You have to go, if you are looking to get something done, you have to go first thing. You have to go first thing to even buy something. That was my Friday morning quest, was I went to the Wizard of Barge booth so I can get a t-shirt, which is a nice t-shirt.
I really should have stood in line for Richard Kane Ferguson and had my Arcane Denial signed.
Oh.
But yeah, the only I think gripe I had is just a more general thing, and that is the inconsistency over where you will need cash, how to get cash, and the fact that nobody wants your cash.
Yeah, well, the
Except
Netherlands,
for,
the Netherlands was quite anti-cash, which is not something I've really experienced before. Most places are fine to take cash. You know, most people would rather pay with card, but I like having cash on vacation because it means that it's really easy to budget.
Yes. Yeah, you can kind of look at your money and think okay, I have this much money that I can play with, right? And I appreciate the fact that Euro are color-coded, unlike going to the United States, where your amount of green money will expand and then contract like it's the number of NPCs in a FromSoft starting area, right?
Yep.
I'm sure we've all had the experience of getting I don't know,
A bolus of ones.
well,
Yeah.
$100 in 20s out of the bank, and you're spending money in the United States and thinking oh, I'm still fine, and you have a stack of money that's an inch thick and it's $4.
Yeah. Berlin was weird for this. I think that merchants there were divided into almost even thirds. 1/3 is, I would say, normal, which is that they accepted cards or cash. And the other 2/3 accepted either only cards or only cash, which was bizarre. Here's the thing also, the Canadian dollar sucks. So we didn't want to get continually ranched on credit card fees because they will charge you the maximum they can. So before we went to a bank and withdrew euro cash. And the problem is the bank was great, here they are in increments of $200 notes. You know how many places can break a 200? Not very many.
Yeah, especially not the places that are cash only, please.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Those are going to be your food stalls, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Oh, there's lots of stores. Yeah, Berlin is kind of. I assume it's so they can skim stuff off the top, and the tax man doesn't know.
Right, or just there might be transaction fees that they're avoiding.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, that's basically the same thing these days.
Point being, I wanted a few things from artist alleys, but most of the artists I think were only set up for cash because, honestly, getting
international stuff.
international fees, it sucks. I get it.
Part of why we didn't. One small aspect of why we didn't have a booth.
That was part of the reason that some of the lines were so long, is because a lot of them were I can do cash or PayPal. PayPal is slow.
Yes.
Oh
But
yeah,
if
the main show merch. If you were paying by card, they had to manually enter all of your
card
information
number. Yeah.
and your address. They had to do all that. They couldn't. There was no swiping or dooting or anything.
Yeah, it was slow. So
Yeah,
if you have cash, then you can just get in and out, and it's
Yeah, watching the merch booth staff, their face fall on Friday morning as they realized that their entire weekend was going to be spent like this was demoralized. Oh, I felt bad for them.
yeah. Don't say, in a situation where something is just taking forever, chances are it is not the person who is whose job it is to move you through as quickly as possible's problem.
Yes.
I mean, maybe they're completely greened out, but they're probably not.
Yeah. Otherwise, the event seemed really well run.
Yeah.
I didn't hear any of the complaints that I remember hearing from previous events where it's there was a big, fun, goofy panel going on next to the Pro Tour.
Oh yeah. So here's sort of the layout of the show. The convention center is sort of 3 long aircraft hangar halls connected side by side. The first one, where the entrance is, was primarily entrance and lineup and registration for the first 2/3 of the depth of it.
Half.
And then at the back, up some steps, was an open free play, area, and the main stage where Game Nights Live was, for example. The next hall over was the artist alley, the dealer's floor, a bunch of open play area, the command zone, and the Pro Tour. but they were separated by not like a retractable air wall, but a wall. And so at no point, in contrast to previous MagicCons, at no point were Pro Tour competitors being drowned out by people popping off because someone just hit Josh with a dragon or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Then the third hall over further still was just tournaments. It was just the tournament,
And the prize wall and
the
stuff
tournament
like that.
tabletop
yeah,
area.
the ticketed play area.
That's the one. Yeah.
Yes.
It was, I don't know, I
was
really
great.
liked the layout of this
Yeah,
convention.
it was awesome.
Really easy to find everything. Like, you weren't like going through like a serpentine maze.
Because if you needed to get a ticketed play, you wanted to go to ticketed play. You had to, it's like, that's where I want to go because I want to go there on purpose, as opposed to the easiest place to get to was the dealer floor, where you want people wandering around. That's where you want people to first
Kind of
go when you
browse,
get to
right.
Yeah, exactly. That's the first place you want people
It
to
was
get
very
to.
cleverly organized to like direct people in through
Yeah.
the floor.
So that was nice.
And the Pro Tour was very central because of that, because it was in the same like third as the dealers dealers hall.
I didn't watch any of it because we never get to watch it because we're at the con. But apparently, the Pro Tour was
Dull?
well. I mean, it was well watched and well produced, and the broadcast is always great and everything. But apparently, Modern with Nadu.
It's just
Yeah, apparently it wasn't even a huge percentage. Like, it wasn't even as huge a percentage of the submitted decks as you might think, but it was 6 of the top 8 and all 4 of the final 4.
Yeah, it just seems like not a very interesting deck to pilot or play against.
No.
And like, I guess it's kind of cool that it's just making, a trillion,
Bugs.
yeah, or the land. That's
Dryad
also
Arbors.
Dryad Arbor. Why can't I remember Dryad Arbor? Yeah, I mean, like that's kind of
It's
cute,
clever.
I guess. But yeah,
would've thought of
the bird of mill and draw, or the bird of ramp and draw is just like, yeah, this is a bad
I
card.
finally had one in draft the other day. My opponents had to expend so many resources to kill me.
I will say that the person who won the Pro Tour is apparently a great guy and very funny and super chill.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This isn't a reflection on the people playing it all because you got to play the meta.
Yeah.
There was a post on the Magic subreddit that it was basically like, because the Pro Tour wrapped up so much quicker than expected on Sunday. Like, it was a fast top 8 because these decks are just fast, and they finished the finals. They did the post match interview and gave him the trophy and everything, and then he walked off the stage and was like,
Into a commander pod.
yeah, it was like, hey, 3 with people he didn't know. It was just like, oh, are we playing Commander? Sweet.
Well, let me just put down my Pro Tour trophy.
Such a man.
Yeah,
I would follow such a man.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't imagine coming off playing the finals of a Pro Tour and being like, oh, I'm up for some Magic.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Like, I haven't played Magic all weekend actually, so I
Yeah.
could actually go for a game.
Actually, that's a good point. How much it? I used this phrase on Sunday a lot. The weekend for us was wall to wall.
Oh my God, I was so busy the whole time.
The times that I played Magic, some of us were hanging out at the Dragon Shield booth because we're a Dragon Shield partner, and they were like, can you hang out at the booth for a bit? And we said yes, and we thought that'd be cool, and we gave away some sleeves and stuff, and that was neat. So Kathleen and I had a shift there on Friday, and during our 2 hours, we played an Commander game.
Now, in my defense, I didn't think it would take that long.
Yeah, fair.
One of
it
the decks
did.
was terrifying.
Yeah.
I thought she would win very quickly.
We just kept attacking her. On Saturday, we hosted the Loading Ready Run Presents Chaos drafty, sealedy nonsense event, which is always a blast. And thank you for everyone who showed up there. So I played 3 rounds of that. And then immediately following it was Gavin's Unknown event.
Yeah.
Which was this time it was same as last time, actually. It was building a limited, so 60 card commander deck from a sealed pool, a less chaotic sealed pool, but still sort of like, there was like a Ravnica Remastered in there and some Modern Horizons and some Thunder Junction, and then
Yeah.
also the playtest cards.
I think that one suffered from not having like a Commander Masters product in it.
This is the only time
yeah.
that's happened. That it was bad for that, but this is that's the only time that it's not gone terrifically.
I was gonna say, my experience playing in that was that I opened my packs and I was like 5 packs in going, I don't actually have any legal commanders right now. I have no legendary creatures. I'm not sure what I need to do, because they have the rule that if you have a 3-color commander, that's great. But if you can just any mono-colored legendary creatures have partners, so you don't have to be like only mono white or only mono red.
For the purpose of
Boros if you have that.
For the purpose of the unknown event, they adopt Commander Legends rules where monocolored commanders have partner.
But I have never heard this before, which was...
There was a hot fix.
There was a hot fix because, like, I was not the only person in this state. I'll tell everybody what happened to me afterwards, but they halfway through deck building, they announced this hot fix.
That because people were having trouble finding enough commanders to play with, that also 2-color commanders would now also have partner so long as the total color identity was not more than 3. So you could have a red commander and a blue-green commander, and you could mix those together, or you could have like a red and blue and a blue and green, and then you could have those be partnered, just so to give you enough color identity to play enough of your pool to make a big enough deck. And I do want to say, I don't know who this person was, but a couple seats down from me, someone was, after that rule came into play, because a bunch of people had already sort of built their decks, he was like, so I have a teamer commander, and I have another teamer legend. And under that rule, I think I could have them both be my commander, because the color identity is still not more than 3. And everybody else around was like, yes, interpreting the rules as he said them, yes, that is correct. And he went, right. But I feel that's not in the spirit, so I'm not going to do that.
Right.
And we were like, yay, good call. So what did you end up with?
So I had to go to the bathroom very badly during deck building. So I was like, I need to build as quickly as possible. So what I did was I opened and on my last pack, I got a Bonnie Paul.
Oh.
So I was like, great. I counted up every single blue card in my pool and every single green card in my pool. And if I added literally all of them, I would have a legal deck just. So I went, great, did that, shuffled it up, said, hello, people around me, I've got to go to the bathroom, please watch my stuff, and took off. So it took me 2 minutes to build my deck, essentially, because I had to go to the bathroom so badly.
There weren't enough bathrooms in the venue.
Yes,
actually, now that I think about it, that was my main complaint.
Yeah, the main bathroom, which was downstairs, was just
it was not signposted well either.
There was another bathroom up the escalators in the lobby,
really?
Which was the secret bathroom that only had about 200 people rammed into it at any moment. So you went down the escalator to the main bathroom and then had to wade through an inch of urine, right? Because it was just
I used the bathrooms back by where the Pro Tour was, and they were fine.
Okay.
Maybe those were the true secret bathrooms.
Anyway, so
I came back and
you built your Bonnie Paul deck. You just stuck with that.
Yeah, I just stuck with that. I was literally, if it's blue or green, it's going in, no matter how shit this card is, right? There's no deck building, there was no thought put into it. I just ran everything and was done. Did the best I've ever done in an unknown event.
Nice.
Bonnie Paul's messed
undefeated
up.
Because that card's messed up. Now I want to build a commander deck with her. She's bananas.
She's great. I opened Ulalek.
Oh, wait, I have to say, also, one of the cards that I definitely would not have run had I not been so desperate for playables in those colors was a 3-mana artifact from Murders at Karlov Manor, Rope.
Oh, yeah.
Rope is 3 mana and 2 mana to equip, and it sucks. But it says target creature can only be blocked by 1 creature.
Oh.
So basically, Bonnie...
Put that on Bo and turn Bo into the Abyss.
Basically.
Yeah.
Or, put it on Bonnie if I wanted to get an attack trigger off her or whatever like that. Or then if I wanted to, I had so much land, I could take it off her, put it on something else, and then be like, yeah, block my commander. Why don't you? I just want to recast her because you remove Bo.
You bring Rope up, James?
Yeah, it was really good. Oh, no, it's 3 to equip and 1 to cast. It's so bad.
It's also a clue.
Yeah, I never wanted to sacrifice. It was low-key one of the best cards in my deck.
Yeah, it just makes any kind of menace creature unblockable.
Yeah.
Right?
Wow.
Yeah,
So-
it was great.
Yeah, so I opened
props to Rope.
I opened Yulalek, the Eldrazi commander from the new set. So I was like, oh, 5 colors, you say? But I it was basically Teamer. Like I was like, let's be reasonable here, because most of my very good cards that were in black or white were double pipped, and my fixing was bad. But I did actually get to use Yulalek's ability once, and it was doubling a Writhing Chrysalis. So that game ended
Yeah.
as a result.
So-
But otherwise, it was fine. I think I ended up 2-1 in Gavin's event this time.
Nice.
Yeah.
I
What did you open?
I went 2-1 as well. I opened a really functional Naya pool that just had like a good curve, and I made disciplined cuts to make sure that I wasn't really running 2 mana pip spells, so that I could get away with my not great fixing. And my commander was Italian magic personality. He was a food commander.
Oh,
I did not see this card. Giancarlo, is that who we're thinking
No,
of? I don't know.
Mengucci,
Andrea Mengucci.
yes, yeah.
yeah.
And so whenever he attacks, you put a food token into play.
This was one of the
and then
playtest
whenever you
cards.
sacrifice a food token, it can either be pizza, pasta, or
Tiramisu?
no, ice cream, but
Gelato.
gelato. Yeah, and they each had like a certain effect, right? Like one taps something down, one gives something haste. And it was fun.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Yeah, we got to see some new. I think we talked about this for the Chicago episode where Gavin did some cards inspired by content creators and such, and I got the Bear Force Pilot, which was very kind, and
The rest of us got the
the
Civic
Civic
Slaw.
Slaw. But there were some new ones this time for Mengucci, Riley Knight,
Yeah.
Frank Karsten,
Z.
Z. Oh gosh, there was so many, and I didn't open that many of them. Tim Willoughby.
Yeah. Kristen from
The Keg.
from the CAG.
Yep.
Rachel Weeks got one, didn't
She got one in Chicago. But
Oh, okay.
Hers is a
a
banger
reprint?
because it got a reprint,
Nice.
of course.
And what else was I going to say? Oh, yeah, I wound up losing my game to a friend, Georg, who had the green commander that you pump mana into to make Nissa planeswalkers, and the black commander that you pump mana into to make Liliana planeswalkers.
Right, yes.
I was just like, why do they enter with 1 extra loyalty? And his answer was, because there's an X cost Nissa planeswalker that could enter with 0 if you roll badly. And I was like, yeah, that would be a shame.
Yeah. Coward.
Good grief.
Come on, Gavin.
Gavin.
There was also a trivia commander.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I don't know who that was, but it was basically like you would name a card, and you would look at the top card of your library. You would tell someone the name of your card, and you could ask them what color or mana cost or something else was. So the first game I played was this 13-year-old kid who was sitting across from me. And he was having a catastrophic event the entire opening of his pool. He was like, oh no, this is terrible. I have nothing. I'm like, I really don't think it's that bad, kid. I think it's fine. But he was like really lamenting that he didn't have enough playables. And I was like, whatever. This is the world's least sanctioned event. I was like, what color is you in? And he was in Mardu. So I was like, here's a black removal spell. Here's a black removal spell. And here's a red removal spell. Your pool just got a lot better. I'm not running these cards.
Right.
But then we played against each other. And then he had the Trivia Master Commander because that was what worked in his colors. Mm-hmm. And the first thing he asked me was one of the black removal spells I gave him. And I was like, CMC 2. And he was like, she knows too much. I'm like, well, not really.
I'm playing the opponent, not the game.
Yeah. So as reported here, I won a battle of wits against a 13-year-old.
Well, you step into the ring, you take your chances.
So he was a charming child.
What was your commander, Cameron?
It was the food commander.
And
Oh yes,
MagicCon
right.
Amsterdam.
That's what it was. Yeah, right.
I
right,
forget
right.
what
I forgot
what
about
it's
that.
called, but
I believe it's just called the Master of Cuisine.
yeah, the Master of Cuisine. It
Right.
was 3-3 for 3.
Cool.
Yeah, it was honestly a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that event, and I would happily do it again.
Yeah.
But it made me think about like what my card would look like, and I think it would be a totally decent like mono blue creature that if at any point there's more than 3 creatures on the battlefield, you transform it, and the backside is just a magic card, like it's just the magic back.
it just goes away.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like this is too
Yeah,
many.
no, this is too much.
Too much.
Yeah, I gotta go.
Yeah.
So those were the only times I played Magic on the weekend. By the way, that Commander game and those 2 events. That was it.
I prioritized the playing of Magic. I don't know about you.
I didn't really get to play much Magic. I played our Chaos event. I played Gavin's Commander event, and then I played at the Dragon Shield booth as well, where I played, I think, 1 game of 1v1 Commander,
Oh, nice.
then a couple of games of Highlander, because
Nice.
people had brought multiple decks, and I played somebody's, what they referred to as Mardu Hot Mess, which is just kind of like Mardu value stuff, and I won with that, and that felt good. And then I got to play Dan Dan. And now I love Dan Dan.
I got to play Dan Dan too because somebody came by the Dragon Shield booth and we weren't going to have enough time to play with them play a full game with them because of the Commander game taking a very long time. And he said, "I have Dan Dan," and I went, "Oh, I want to play Dan." Maybe we played Dan Dan with the same person.
Yeah, well, it made me want to build Dan Dan and just bring Dan Dan to events from now on.
Yeah, Dan Dan is sick. If you haven't played it at MagicCon, or at an event, is typically I will seek it out, and then I always remember when I start playing how rude Dan Dan is.
Yeah, because it's the entire purpose is to like
To
the
goozle your
purpose of
opponent.
any game of Magic is to win a game of Magic, unless you're on some weird other strat like having fun. But it's especially rude because you're playing from the same deck,
Yeah.
and it plays a lot of effects like
Brainstorm
tuck effects and brainstorm, and then so that you're constantly like bouncing people's spell, like memory lapses.
Yeah.
Very like, I feel an iconic Dan Dan spell where you counter someone's spell and then put it on top, and then you get to draw it.
Yeah, it's very cool.
And the big, apparently, the big bottleneck to building Dan Dan is that the card Dan Dan is just not available. Like, it's a $2 card and it's not anywhere. So this deck was made using Magikarps,
Oh,
which totally worked.
we played a different. I played against a Dan Dan deck that had legit Dan Dans in it. So, but yeah,
Multiple Dan Dans at the MagicCon.
yeah. But I love Dan Dan, and if you see me at a MagicCon and I'm not doing anything, ask me to play Dan Dan with you if you're the kind of person who has it.
The coolest thing, by the way, that happened to me during the Chaos event had nothing to do with Magic the Gathering, but I got to talk about it because it's so amazing. If you have not seen my video on the Olympic mascots, you will have no context for what I am talking about. It's over on my vlog channel, and it's a feature-length video about every Olympic mascot up to from the first one up to present. And when talking about the 1972 games in Munich, for which the mascot was Valdi, the Dachshund, there was a prototype prior to Valdi, a very different-looking wiener dog named Lumpy, Lumpi.
He's as great as his name
Yeah,
suggests.
it's a little lumpy, and they prototyped him. They made some prototypes out of leather, and he's got a little necklace basically that says Munich 1979, and I showed a picture of it in the video, and a viewer who lives in Munich somehow acquired a lumpy, managed to find one, and gave it to me, and it was amazing. I was absolutely flabbergasted, and now I have my own. He's held up remarkably well, I assume, because he's made of leather, and not any number of other.
If he was plastic,
Easily
he would have
degradable.
just crumbled
Oh
by
yeah,
now.
easily degradable synthetic materials. So yeah, now I have a lumpy. So thank you so much. The other thing I should say, speaking of things that Germans gave us, we got a lot of Crack-a-Pack boosters. Many of them, I would say more than half, like the majority, were German language boosters given to us by Germans. Who, if I had to paraphrase the group as a whole, basically when they gave them to me, they were like, "We like it when you say the words funny," and so I'm thrilled that the Germans enjoy when I try to muddle my way through a German pack on Crack-A-Pack so much. So look forward to a lot more of those.
Yeah, the Germans are shockingly a much nicer group of people than the French.
Yeah, one country is the country of romance, and the other country is the country of bratwurst.
Yes. Pragmatic, you know?
So yeah, we learned. I think a huge number of people were at MagicCon from Germany, but from all over Europe, from the UK. There was some people from North America. I talked to someone in the lounge who was there with his buddies from Australia. It was a 22-hour travel day in the air. Like 22 hours in the air. And I said, please, Christ, tell me you're not just coming in just for MagicCon. And he's like, oh, no. And they'd arrived on the Monday and had the week leading up and then MagicCon, and then they didn't leave until the Friday. So MagicCon was the impetus, but they were getting a whole vacation out of it, which I was like, thank God, because that would have been miserable. We learned that Dutch people who are not from Amsterdam hate Amsterdam.
Yeah, it sounds a bit like Amsterdam is kind of like Vancouver or Toronto, where, you have opinions on it.
Yeah, everyone we talked to who was Dutch, who was from elsewhere, was like, how you liking Amsterdam? And I was like, oh, I'm liking it very much. And they're like, okay.
Wrong answer,
Yeah.
but okay.
Yeah.
What are you supposed to say? It's shit. I mean, if somebody asked me, I have opinions about Amsterdam tourism, but it's mostly that I'm a big hipster. I will say, before we move on, I want to talk a little bit, because I tried to prioritize opportunities to play Magic.
Yeah. You were talking about that, yeah.
So I actually played quite a bit of Magic that weekend.
Good.
Nice.
So I played, obviously we had 2 meet and greets, which ate up a lot of our time. I also wanted to watch Game Nights live, because I like watching Game Nights live. It is fun, and also I wanted to support the people in it. And Ash Lizzle, former PPR guest, won. So yay, I was very happy for her.
Pantlaza
Is a problem. Yeah, Pantlaza is wild.
You may recall that on an episode of Elder Dragon Social Club with the Lost Caverns of Ixalan precon decks, Ash piloted the Pantlaza precon and dusted us in the second quickest episode of EDSC
Ever.
ever. The first one being that weird Christmas episode. But yeah, Pantlaza, sun favored. 5 mana 4/4. Whenever Pantlaza or another dinosaur enters the battlefield, you may discover X, where X is that creature's toughness.
Pardon me?
Oh,
Yeah.
it's disgusting.
Only once each turn, Cameron.
Oh, well, I mean, it's fixed Nadu then.
Anyhow, yeah. So that was fun. But when I wasn't doing the contracted events, I had a couple of hours every day. So instead of eating, what I did was I went and played Magic instead. So basically,
It sustains you in a different way.
yeah. So basically, I wandered around until I found people who wanted to play Magic the Gathering. And I played 2 games of Magic the Gathering just with random 3 pods of people. And finished both of them. I played one in the crater area, which was very disruptive, and I apologize to everyone else and to all my opponents. But everybody I played with there was lovely. And then I played another couple just amongst the show floor and had a great time. Basically, I was wandering around, and there's 3 people who came up to me, and they were really excited. And I went, hey, I'm not doing anything right now. There's 3 of you and 1 of me. Who's got commander decks? And it turns out that we were able to work it out that everyone had a commander deck. And then I got to see what a decent commander deck is like in real life, which is terrifying, but also very complicated. The person playing it was a judge.
Oh, nice. The only thing that was I loved working for Dragon Shield. We made an interesting video with them where we each submitted a card to be graded, and they took the card away and then graded it.
And we fundamentally misunderstood the purpose of what was going on.
So now my cavern harpy is sealed deep within the Earth's crust in it got O-ringed,
Graded
basically,
shell.
permanently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to need Alex to cutting torch it out
Yeah.
of the
Yeah.
of its
Well,
protective
because
shell.
we decided that obviously everyone's got nice cards that can be graded, but we also have crap old cards that we all are well loved and we've played with for years. So you had your original Cavern Harpy, I had a Bitter Blossom, and Wheeler had we'll describe it as heavily played Caracas.
Yes.
Which we won't spoil it. So, and Serge also had an old card.
Yeah,
he had,
his old Swords to
he
Plowshares
had
from Ice Age.
yeah.
So yeah, Dragon Shield is the company that owns Dragon Shield also owns Beckett, which is a card grading company. This is not sponsored, by the way. But they were like, "Hey, could you do this funny thing?" And we were like, "Yeah, sure, why not?" And so yeah, they were like, "You'll give us cards. We'll take them away. We'll grade them now because like their offices were like nearby or whatever. Like we'll grade them and we'll seal them up in like the grading, like the hard plastic things, and then we'll come back on Saturday and we'll film the second half of the video where you find out what grades your card got." And we were trying to figure out, we're like, we'll
Be a funny angle.
yeah, we'll see who gets the worst one or whatever. And so some of us were just like, I'll just open these boosters that we got and pick something out of it. So I had like a borderless pearl medallion fresh out of a pack of MH3 or whatever. But yeah, then Kathleen was like, well, how about this Bitter Blossom for my deck or whatever? And then they go away and they come back and they're all in the thing and we do the video, we figure out who's got the like the worst grade, haha. And then Kathleen's like, right.
How do I open this?
I need
Yeah.
this card for my deck. And
Yeah,
they're
this
like,
is literally part of my commander deck.
yeah, how do you open it? You don't. And the guy's like, I can take it away and like release it and get your card back if that's what you would prefer, but I need to bring it back again on Sunday.
Yeah. Yeah,
So-
like in language that heavily implied that he was like, yeah, I can put it in a table vise and get a hacksaw.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Well, I
So-
mean, I got my Bitter Blossom. It can't be more damaged.
We didn't fully appreciate that they were going to seal them up.
No, but it was very funny.
Yeah. I want to talk about the meet and greets.
oh yes,
Because they were delightful. You mentioned that they took a lot of time. They did. Not as much as they could have taken. So on Friday, we had two. We had one on Friday, one on Sunday. On Friday, the line was capped before it started. And they told us that they turned away something like 100 people, which is amazing. And it's nice to feel loved. But we felt bad about that also. We were like, geez, that's a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I know that some number of those people probably only had Friday passes, and I'm really sorry. But so on our one on Sunday, we talked to the people running the meet and greet area, and we were like, look, we're scheduled for 90 minutes. We'll stay longer. Please, please, can we do this without turning people away? Because how often do we make it over to Europe? And we did manage to clear through the entire lineup on Sunday, which was really nice. And yeah, we got to. I signed so many different bears.
You kept count.
I did. I had a rough count. I think the numbers. I definitely missed a lot of Ayulas and Kudos, but I had it up to in the 30s or something. I'm trying to find my post about it because I updated it from my note. Hang on. Here we go. 37 Ayulas, 19 Kudos, 6 Toscana, 3 Wilsons, and then a Werebear, a Grizzly Bears, a Savage Punch, a Surak. I signed a lot of Suraks too. I tend to write every bear straight punched on it. A Grizzly Fate, a Game Knights Bear token, a blank bear token, but with my art from our Magic thumbnails that someone had made. Did you you signed similar ones?
yes,
for,
right. Yes.
Toby, who runs a kids
Yeah, it was
Magic club.
Yes. Yeah.
These were going to be these were going to be giveaways for the kids in the Magic club.
Yeah. I
Apparently,
think
we're
mine
very
was
excited.
A clue token.
Oh, nice. That's good. So yeah, signed a lot of stuff. Received confections from around the world. Took pictures. Had some lovely conversations with people. It was wonderful. The meet and greet was a delight.
Yeah, please don't interpret me saying that they took time as dismissive. Love doing them. Loved meeting people and hearing stories and defacing so many cards.
Yeah, it's fundamentally what we're there for,
Yeah.
right? It's like I like to play Magic. I want to be able to make other people's experiences good
Yeah.
more.
You found so many creative ways to put cat faces on Magic cards.
Oh yeah,
I think Damnation's one of my favorites.
it is. I Anything with a circle can have a cat added to
Yeah.
it, Cameron. But I always ask, I'm like, how much can I deface this card?
Yeah.
Because, like, not everybody wants a cat face drawn in the middle of their damnation. But I'll do it.
So that was great. So Friday, you and I had our time at the Dragon Shield booth. We did a meet and greet. Saturday, I did some very exciting meetings with people in the morning, and then we had our Chaos event and then the Unknown event. And then on Sunday,
We had the Eldrazi panel.
yes, I knew there was another big thing that I was forgetting. So yeah, on Sunday at noon, they had the Eldrazi Power Hour on the main stage, which was 3 of the folks from the creative and/or game design team, hosted by Matt Danner, talking about the Eldrazi Titans. And it's like, hey, they're unknowable, so let's get to know them a little bit. And talking about sort of their history, their original concepting. They showed off some early concept drawings, and then they talked about representing what the Eldrazi are mechanically on the cards and how that's been done with each sort of time that they've been revisited, including their most recent iterations in Modern Horizons. And that was really cool. And so some time ago, we'd been contacted because they were like, okay, we have a 45-minute panel, and then we'd like to wrap it up with something silly. We have this idea. What do you think? And we were like, maybe if we take that and sort of turn it into a slightly different idea, and we sort of went back and forth on it. And what we ended up with is essentially the match game with the Eldrazi Titans. And so I hosted this segment where we pulled 2 folks up out of the audience who felt that they knew a lot about the Eldrazi Titans. And then we had Cameron, Kathleen, and Ben as Ulamog, Emrakul, and Kozilek, respectively. With the best products available to order on Amazon.nl, we put together I think they were like terrific, air quote, bad costumes of the Titans.
No, it was fantastic. There's a picture out on Twitter if you want to go find it.
Yeah. And this panel will be on the Wizards YouTube channel. I think within this week.
Yeah,
of
it
you
might
hearing
already
this.
be up.
It might.
Yeah.
We'll check. If it's up when this goes live, then we'll link it. But if not, you might have to go looking for it. Yeah. But it was very entertaining. And sort of we were asking the contestants questions and being like, okay, what would this Titan say to this? And then they have to try to match their answer.
I got to make, I thought, a really good pun.
Oh, yes, I did enjoy this was in the music question.
Yeah.
That was a very good pun.
I really enjoyed where would again the music question, like what album would Ulamog take to a desert island? And I thought my answer was fun in that, like, well, where is music anyway? Right? Is it all it's in the air? Is it in a composer's mind? Is it in a performance? Is it in like a recording? And because all of those places are like encoded into the matrix of matter, soon they will exist nowhere.
Yum, yum, yum.
And then there was an actual answer too.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Selected Ampium Works Volume 2.
Yeah. That was very good. And then on Sunday night we all went out for big loading ready run team dinner.
Yep.
And that was that was it. Like that
was a quiet dinner. The food was set down and then inhaled.
Yeah. I think we got our food, and then I looked around the table, and there was like, one of the plates was just kind of rotating with like the remains of dinner on it.
Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah. It was a whirlwind weekend.
It was really great. That restaurant was not busy, so it was real quick. And it was like, I would say the prices were like 2/3 of what the restaurants were around the convention center, because we walked away from the convention center to get food, and it was no less good, but it was much cheaper.
Yeah.
Yeah. We kind of walked, 10 minutes in the other direction.
Yeah.
One of the things that I heard about Amsterdam was that it's quite expensive, and to which I reply, I'm from Victoria, you are but a tiny baby.
Yes.
Yeah. Everything is expensive in Canada.
Yeah. It turns out everything, especially alcohol, but everything was cheaper over there. I
God,
mean,
everything
the
was so cheap in Germany.
The exchange
even
rate's
with
not
the
great, but
exchange.
even factoring in the exchange rate, speaking of food, the food's delicious. I went to the grocery store, the Albert Heijn, and I went to just like the deli, like the ready food that you can just grab. Like they have like croissants and things.
Yeah.
And
'Cause
they
we're
had
not cooking. We're tourists.
yeah, and they had one thing that was like it was a latticed pastry, so it's sort of the appearance of like a strudel, right? But it was not sweet. This was a savory thing, inside which was a sausage with a curry-based sauce.
Oh.
And it was called like, I don't know, like Frankenjonkenbrule or something. Like it was a very long word there was an F in it and a J in it, and I think it ended with brule. And I was like, sure, let's try this. First of all, it was delicious. Secondly, as I was leaving, just rounding the corner of the building, someone was like, "Oh, hey, Graham, can you like sign this thing?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." And I did that, and he's like, "Oh, you're having the Frankendonkenbrule," and I'm like, "Yeah, no, it's really good." He's like, "Yeah, that's the thing. Generally, you'll see teenagers go into the grocery store and come out with one of those and an energy drink." And I was like, I mean, yeah, that sounds great. I would have seen myself doing that as a teenager.
Yeah,
Why not?
You're 15 and I need 3,000 calories immediately or I will die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I went with sparkling water, but that's fine.
No, that's because you're a mature adult now.
Well, because I'd gotten used to it after having, as the card market folks call it, the angry water so often in Berlin. Because
I like
I've heard
angry
people call sparkling water spicy water over here, but I've never heard angry water, and I quite like that.
Yeah, I want to steal that.
Yeah.
I like my water angry.
Yeah, my only like takeaway from the entire thing was that I wish I had more time, because when we arrived, left Tuesday, arrived Wednesday, spent Wednesday afternoon staying awake.
Yeah.
Thursday was like my free day, and Thursday was also the peak of the heat wave.
Yeah.
In the Netherlands, and I stepped out of the hotel and it was like walking into a wall of cream of wheat.
It was very
Right.
warm.
And humid, and I thought, oh, I hate that I don't want to be out in this.
Mm-hmm.
So I just stayed around the hotel and read my book. But
Relaxing.
yeah, it was honestly not a bad way to spend it. That did mean that the most I saw of the country, of your beautiful country, was from the 24th floor of the neighboring hotel when I went to a party.
It was a great view from up there. Very flat.
Very flat. Yeah.
Yeah.
Lovely country. The space between the hotel and the convention center is very nice.
It's true. We Kathleen and I did a boat tour. We met up with my sister because she was heading to Rotterdam for TwitchCon, and she's been to Amsterdam a lot. So we did a canal tour, which was fun and learned a lot of interesting facts. My favorite thing the tour guide said was the utter disdain when introduced. So we paid for just the normal price. For an extra price, which they were very keen to upsell you on, and we held our ground, you could get a cheese board and wine as well. And my favorite thing that the tour guide said was or Gouda, as you might know it,
No. Howda.
was the disdain with which he said Gouda was, because the cheese, it's pronounced Gouda apparently. But so that was very funny.
I remember my dad laughing at me when I said Gouda when I was 8.
Aw.
Jeez.
He was like, it's
I
Howda?
I
I'm
would-
like, it's,
There's
how
a
am I
G.
supposed to know this?
I'm 8.
Yeah.
Good grief.
I had
I wouldn't laugh at Penelope.
I had a very long chicken nugget. We went to a place called Phoebo, which is like walking into a vending machine. And they have a wall of tiny doors, and you can put coins in the wall and then open the door and take the burger out. Or you can just walk to the counter and be like, make me burgers, please, like normal. So we got like burgers and these cheese croquettes, and a thing called so kip, I believe, is chicken. So I had a kip corn, which is like a churro chicken nugget. It's not, it's savory, but it's like, it's a long cylinder of a chicken nugget. It was
I
delicious.
had a bite. It was good.
Like a chicken sausage, only
Yeah.
Only deep fried. It was great.
Brilliant.
I will say that, I mean, I don't want to spoil it because we have footage and I'll be editing it.
Oh yeah, there's something.
I did do a tourism
We did a tourism.
because it turns out that I am not the only lunatic in the universe who's like, what's the worst tourism attraction I can find?
Yeah, Kathleen and Carl from Card Market were definitely kindred spirits in that regard.
Yeah, as in we literally have the same sources.
Yeah.
Which I mean, I'll tell you, but like,
Kathleen and I opted, having seen a lot of similar museums to recent memory, Kathleen and I opted not to go to the Rijksmuseum, which was rammed, and instead we went to the Stedelijk Museum of Modern and Contemporary Art and Design, which was super cool. Though, I do want to say, even though this was part of the preamble, and we should have mentioned it there, not quite as nice as the Hamburger Bahnhof Contemporary Art Gallery in Berlin, which was astounding. And it was great. And thank you, Fele, for the recommendation.
probably one of my top art experiences. It had 7 things to look at. Like, it had 7 exhibitions, which you're like, boy, that's not much. But actually, it's the perfect amount because you can spend a long time sort of immersing yourself in everything, and like they're meant to be experienced. You're not supposed to just look at it for a few seconds, then wander off and look at one of the other thousands of pieces of artwork on display. Like, one of them was like an installation where somebody had made wild musical instruments out of gigantic pieces of felt and carbon fiber that she had fused together. And then she had wired piano strings through them, and they were all plugged into amplifiers in the wall. So you, the person, could go up and you could play all of these things.
Cool.
And stick your hands in holes in the walls and like make things. And there's like a whole thing that you could watch where she had hired like actual like musicians and dancers to interact with the place. There's all sorts of, and then they had like 4 installations from like award-winning young artists upstairs. It was great. It was fantastic. But like you were in and out of there in like 2 hours, and then you weren't like, oh, my feet have hurt, and I don't remember anything I've seen because I've been completely overwhelmed with the amount of art that I have had to take in the, within a short time, right? So I actually prefer that. I'd rather just look at a few things than thousands of things.
There was one piece we saw, I don't remember the name of it, but it was a painting, a large painting on canvas, probably about 5 or 6 foot tall canvas. It was very large, with a floral sort of background.
Oh, yeah, I took
and
a
then
picture of it.
text that said, "This painting is only allowed to be sold to someone who will donate it by like March 2020 to one of the following museums." And it was like the MoMA, the Tate, the Stedelijk.
Hamburger Bahnhof. Did I not take a picture of it? You took
Oh,
a
I
picture
did.
of it, maybe.
Hang on.
But yeah, basically, it was literally like, to me, I was like, well, this is just a checklist of every museum I want to go to. And I think I'd been to like 5 out of the 6 on the list.
There we go. This painting may only be purchased by a collector who will donate it to one of the following museums by March 21st, 2020. Moderne Musik, MoMA, Tate, Hamburger Bahnhof, LACMA, and the Stedelijk.
Okay, I haven't seen
Modern-
LACMA and Moderne Musik.
Yeah. So we got to go there. We got to figure out what those museums, because we've been to all the other ones. So it's like I love that kind of art that's like also needling the concept of art. I think that's very cool. So
Yeah, that's my recommend. If you're in Berlin, you go to the Hamburger Bahnhof Museum.
yeah, but yeah, the MagicCon was great. Honestly, had a wonderful time. I thought that with the small exceptions that we mentioned about like Black Lotus merch lines and the merch stuff and whatever, and maybe could have used 1 or 2 more bathrooms, but generally,
That's not MagicCon's fault.
no. Generally, the show ran very smoothly, and we've seen it not. And this was like 10,000 people. This
was
This was one of the
huge.
biggest ones they've ever had.
It
Yeah,
was
like
really big.
It seems like they're building expertise
Yes.
to run these kind of events, and
Yeah.
I'm really happy to see that.
They did a good job.
Yeah, I kind of want to start a pool for where next year's will be. I would suggest Ireland.
Ooh,
Oh,
that'd be fun.
Yeah, wouldn't it though?
a lot of Irish fans, actually. That would be good. We met a lot of people from Ireland.
We did. Yeah. And I've never been. Yeah, but I think that'll do it
Yeah.
for this episode. If you were there, post in the comments. We gotta, in future, we should put up a sign or something for this. If you come see us at a meet and greet, please volunteer your username if you have one, because you'd be surprised how many we recognize.
Yes.
We met a couple folks. They were like, "Oh yeah, no, this is my chat name." We're like, "Oh yeah, I recognize that chat name," and they were surprised. But
We see your names all
yeah,
the time.
that stuff burrows in there.
But we don't see your faces, so we're not going to recognize you. You have to tell us.
Yeah. So yeah, that was a great time, and hopefully those of you that are listening who were there enjoyed it too. And if you weren't, maybe we'll see you at another one. Next one's in Vegas, because they like to round out the year in Vegas. So maybe we'll see some of you there. That is going to do it for Tap Tap Concede. A reminder that this show is brought to you by Card Kingdom. Please do buy your cards via cardkingdom.com/LRR. It helps us out a huge amount. And if you don't want to do that, that's okay. You can support us directly at patreon.com/loadingreadyrun or by becoming a member on this channel. Shout outs at the end of the episode. And if you don't even want to do that, that is also fine. Just happy that you're here. Until next time, I have been Graham, joined by Kathleen and Cameron. James is on tech. Heather edits these and gets them online. And thank you all so much for watching. We'll talk to you next time. Bye, everybody.